Welcome back, everyone. I'm really excited about today's conversation because I genuinely believe we're about to discuss one of the biggest technological shifts happening right now. One that most people are experiencing every single day, even if they haven't fully realized it yet. For more than 2 decades, our relationship with the internet has been remarkably simple. Whenever we had a question, we opened Google. Whenever we needed advice, we opened Google. Whenever we wanted to buy something, learn something, compare products, plan a trip, fix a problem, or even settle an argument with a friend, we Googled it. Google it actually became part of everyday language. Think about that for a second. Very few companies become verbs. We don't usually say, "I'll Microsoft it," or "I'll Yahoo it." We say, "I'll Google it." That tells you how deeply Google became part of modern life. For an entire generation, Google wasn't just a search engine. It became the gateway to the internet itself. But over the last year or two, something has started to change. Not slowly, not quietly, quickly. People are asking fewer questions in search bars and more questions inside AI assistants. Instead of typing 5 or 6 keywords, they're writing complete sentences. Instead of opening 10 browser tabs, they're expecting one intelligent answer. Instead of searching for information, they're having conversations with technology. And honestly, I don't think this is just another update. I think it's a completely different way of interacting with information.
I completely agree. And what's fascinating is that many people still think AI search is simply Google with ChatGPT. But that's a huge oversimplification. Because the change isn't only about the interface. It's about expectations. For years we accepted that searching meant doing work ourselves. You typed a few keywords. Google returned millions of results. Then you became the researcher. You opened links, compared articles, ignored advertisements, checked publication dates, looked for trustworthy sources, read blog posts, watched videos, returned to Google, opened more tabs. Eventually, after 20 or 30 minutes, you found the answer you were looking for. That process felt normal because it was all we knew. But AI changes the relationship completely. Now people expect technology to understand intent, summarize information, compare options, explain complex topics, and even ask follow-up questions if something isn't clear. We're moving from searching for information to collaborating with information.
That's such an interesting way to put it. Collaborating with information. Because when I use AI now, I rarely think in terms of searching anymore. I think in terms of solving problems. If I'm planning a trip, I don't search for best hotels in Rome. I explain my situation. I might say, I'm visiting Rome for 4 days. I love walking. I don't want to spend a fortune. I want to stay near historic sites, and I'd prefer a quieter neighborhood than the city center. That's not a search query. That's a conversation, and the AI understands the context. It remembers the details. It adapts its recommendations. That feels fundamentally different from traditional search.
Exactly. And I think that's why this transition is happening so quickly. Because conversational search feels more natural. Humans don't naturally communicate in keywords. Imagine asking your friend for restaurant advice by saying, "Italian restaurant, outdoor seating, cheap, open, late, family." It sounds ridiculous. You'd naturally say, "Hey, we're looking for a relaxed Italian restaurant with outdoor seating that's not too expensive. Do you have any recommendations?" AI finally allows technology to communicate more like humans communicate with each other. And that's incredibly powerful.
But here's the question that's probably on everyone's mind. Does this mean Google is in trouble? Because every headline seems to suggest that AI is replacing Google. Some people even say, Google is dead. Others say Google will dominate AI because it has more data than anyone else. So where's the truth?
As usual, the truth is somewhere in the middle. Google isn't disappearing tomorrow. Far from it. Google still processes billions of searches every day. It has incredible infrastructure, one of the world's largest indexes of the web, powerful advertising systems, Android, Chrome, YouTube, Maps, Gmail, an ecosystem that's almost impossible to replicate. But the way people interact with Google is changing. And that's the important part.
Let's go back for a moment. Before we look at where search is going, I think it's useful to understand where we've come from. Because sometimes we don't notice how much technology has shaped our habits until those habits begin to change. When Google first became popular, it felt almost magical. You could ask almost any question and instantly find information from anywhere in the world. At the time, that was revolutionary. But if you think about it today, Google never actually answered your question. It pointed you toward places where the answer might exist. That's a subtle difference, but it's an important one.
Exactly. Google has always been an incredibly effective librarian. Imagine walking into the largest library on Earth. You ask the librarian, "I want to learn about electric vehicles." The librarian doesn't teach you. The librarian points toward the right shelves. Google has been doing exactly that for decades. It organizes information, it ranks information, it recommends information, but it generally leaves the final thinking to you. AI is different. AI reads those books with you. It summarizes them, compares them, explains difficult concepts, identifies patterns, and then helps you make a decision. That's why people experience AI so differently.
I noticed this personally a few weeks ago. I was researching cameras for podcast production. Normally, I'd open 10 YouTube reviews, read several comparison articles, look at specifications, watch benchmark videos, maybe spend an hour or two before feeling confident. Instead, I opened an AI assistant. I explained my budget. I described our recording setup. I explained our lighting, our microphones, our goals. Within minutes, I had a structured comparison, pros and cons, recommendations, and even follow-up suggestions depending on future upgrades. I still checked a few reviews afterward, but the amount of time I saved was remarkable.
That's a perfect real-world example. And what's important is that AI didn't eliminate research. It made research more efficient. I think that's an important distinction because some critics argue that AI discourages independent thinking. I actually believe the opposite can happen when it's used well. If AI saves you 2 hours of repetitive searching, you can spend those 2 hours asking deeper questions. Exploring strategy, testing ideas, building something meaningful. Technology has always been at its best when it removes repetitive work so humans can focus on higher value thinking.
And I think that's what today's episode is really about. Not Google versus AI, but understanding how our relationship with information is evolving. Because whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, marketer, student, consultant, or business owner, this shift will affect the way you learn, the way customers find you, and even the way businesses compete online.
Exactly. And next I'd love to explore something that I think surprises many people. Why some users are opening ChatGPT or Perplexity before they even think about opening Google, and what that means for the future of search.
Anna, I want to go deeper into that. You said that Google is not disappearing, but the way people interact with search is changing. And I think this is probably the most important point for businesses and creators to understand. Because for years, everyone built their online strategy around one idea: how do we rank on Google? SEO became one of the biggest industries in digital marketing. Companies hired SEO specialists. They created blog posts. They optimized keywords. They built backlinks. They analyzed search volume. They studied Google's algorithm updates. For many businesses, Google wasn't just a traffic source. It was the foundation of their entire customer acquisition strategy. So if search is changing, what happens to all of that? Is SEO dead?
This is probably one of the biggest questions in digital marketing right now. And the short answer is, no, SEO is not dead. But SEO is changing, and honestly, I think that's a much more interesting conversation. Because every time technology changes, people say the old system is dead. When social media became popular, people said websites were dead. When YouTube grew, people said television was dead. When short-form video exploded, people said long-form content was dead. But usually what happens is not replacement. It's evolution. The old strategies don't disappear completely. They adapt.
So the mistake businesses are making is assuming that AI search is just another platform where they need to copy their old strategy?
Exactly. And this is where many companies will struggle. Because traditional SEO was built around ranking pages, AI search is increasingly built around being the source that AI systems trust. Those are different things. Let's explain that difference. Traditional Google search often works like this. A user searches best productivity apps for entrepreneurs. Google shows articles, websites, reviews, videos, advertisements. The user chooses where to click. The website owner competes for that click. AI search changes the process. A user asks, "I'm a small business owner with a team of 5 people. I need productivity software that is affordable, easy to use, and doesn't require technical knowledge. What should I choose? The AI doesn't simply show 10 links. It analyzes information, it compares options, it creates a recommendation, and then it may mention specific companies or sources.
So the battle is moving from, how do I rank number 1, to, how do I become the trusted answer?
Exactly, and that's a massive mindset shift.
This brings us to a term we're hearing more often, AEO. Answer Engine Optimization. Many marketers are talking about this as the next evolution of SEO. What exactly does that mean?
AEO is basically optimizing your content so AI systems can understand, reference, and recommend it. Think about the difference. SEO asks, how do I get a search engine to rank my page? AEO asks, how do I make my information useful enough that an AI assistant chooses it as an answer?
What changes from a content perspective? Because many businesses are still creating content exactly the same way they did 5 years ago.
That's the problem. A lot of content today is created only for algorithms. You see articles that begin, "Are you looking for the best X in 2026? You have come to the right place." Then they repeat the keyword 20 times. But AI systems are becoming better at understanding quality. They look for expertise, originality, clear explanations, real examples, trustworthy information, structured knowledge. Generic content becomes less valuable. The internet already has millions of average articles. AI doesn't need another article saying the same thing. It needs unique insights, real experience, strong opinions supported by evidence.
Let's talk about user behavior. Why are people moving toward AI search? What problem does it solve?
Speed is one reason, but I think the bigger reason is complexity. The internet has become overwhelming. There is too much information, too many opinions, too many options. Let's take something simple, buying a laptop. 10 years ago, maybe you searched, best laptop 2020. You read reviews. Today, people have more specific needs. They ask, I am a video editor creating YouTube content. I need a laptop under $1,500 that can handle 4K editing, has good battery life, and will last at least 5 years. What should I buy? That's not a keyword. That's a problem. AI is designed around solving problems.
That's probably the biggest difference. Google helps you find information. AI helps you make decisions.
Exactly. And decisions are where businesses compete. Because customers don't just need information. They need confidence.
So now we arrive at the part that I think many people are most curious about. We understand that search is changing. We understand that users are starting to expect conversations instead of lists of links. But now the big question is, who is actually building the future of search? Because when people hear AI search, many immediately think about one company. They think about ChatGPT. But the reality is much more interesting. We are entering a completely new competitive landscape. We have traditional technology giants. We have AI-first companies. We have research-focused platforms. We have specialized search assistants. And every company has a slightly different vision of what the future of finding information should look like.
Yes, and I think this is one of the most exciting moments in technology. Because for years search was dominated by one major model. A search engine gives you links. You choose. Now everyone is asking a different question. What if the search engine understood what I need before I even knew exactly how to ask? That's the fundamental shift. And different AI companies are approaching this from different angles. Some focus on accuracy. Some focus on reasoning. Some focus on research. Some focus on creativity. Some focus on business productivity. So instead of asking, which AI search tool is the Google killer? A better question is, which AI assistant is best for which type of problem?
Let's start with the biggest name, ChatGPT. For many people, ChatGPT was their first experience with AI that felt genuinely conversational. But many users still think of it only as a writing tool. They use it to write emails, brainstorm ideas, or create content. How should people think about ChatGPT as a search tool?
I think people underestimate how powerful conversational search can be. Traditional search is based on a single moment. You ask, you receive results, the interaction ends. But with ChatGPT-style search, the process becomes iterative. You start with a question. The AI gives an answer. Then you refine, you challenge it, you add context, you explain your situation, the answer improves. Instead of one search query, you have a research conversation. Let's imagine someone wants to start an online business. A traditional search might be, Best Online Business Ideas 2026. You get thousands of generic articles. But a conversation might look like, I work full-time. I have 5 hours per week. I have experience in marketing. I want to build a digital product business with low startup costs. What business models fit my situation? Now the AI understands your time limitations, your skills, your goals, your resources. The answer becomes personalized.
And personalization is something traditional search struggled with.
Yes, because Google knows what millions of people search. But AI can understand the individual conversation happening right now.
Now let's talk about another platform that has become extremely popular among researchers, entrepreneurs, and marketers: Perplexity AI. Many people describe it as a combination between Google and ChatGPT. Would you agree with that?
Yes, that's actually a very good description. Perplexity became popular because it focused heavily on research. Its biggest advantage is that it provides answers with citations. For people who need trustworthy information, that matters. Citations is very important, because one of the biggest concerns with AI is accuracy. People ask, can I trust this answer? When AI provides sources, users can verify information. This is especially important for business research, market analysis, academic work, financial decisions, competitive analysis.
Another major player is Claude from Anthropic. Where does Claude stand out?
Claude has become very popular among professionals who work with large amounts of text and complex reasoning. It is excellent for analyzing documents, writing long-form content, reviewing contracts, strategic thinking, research summaries. If ChatGPT feels like a general assistant, Claude often feels like a thoughtful analyst.
Anna, we've talked about how people are starting to use AI instead of traditional search. But now we need to talk about the biggest concern for businesses and marketers. For years, the main question was, how do I rank #1 on Google? Companies built entire strategies around SEO. They created blog posts, optimized keywords, built backlinks, studied algorithms, and invested thousands of dollars trying to get more organic traffic. But if AI starts answering questions directly, what happens to that strategy? How do businesses make sure they are still visible?
This is probably one of the biggest changes happening in digital marketing. But I don't think SEO is disappearing. I think SEO is evolving. The question is no longer only, how do I rank on Google? The new question is, how do I become the trusted source that AI chooses to recommend? And that's where we start talking about AEO, answer engine optimization. Instead of fighting for clicks, businesses are fighting to become the answer. Traditional SEO was focused on helping search engines understand your page. AEO is about helping AI systems understand your expertise, your information, and your value. AI doesn't just look for keywords. It looks for credibility, useful information, detailed explanations, original insights, real-world experience.
For someone listening who owns a business today, what are the first steps they should take?
I would focus on 3 things. 1. Create original content. Don't just summarize information that already exists. Share personal experiences, case studies, customer stories, lessons learned, industry insights. Your experience is your advantage. 2. Answer specific questions. AI systems understand clear questions and detailed answers. Instead of creating content around AI marketing, create content around how can a small business use AI marketing with a limited budget? The more specific the problem, the more valuable the answer. 3. Build authority. Businesses need to show who are the experts behind the brand. What experience do they have? Why should customers trust them? In the AI era, trust becomes one of the most important ranking factors.
I think that's a huge point. Because for years, many businesses focused only on being visible. Now they need to be credible.
Exactly. Visibility gets attention, trust gets chosen, and AI search is all about choosing the best answer.
Anna, we've talked a lot about how AI is changing search and how businesses need to rethink visibility. But I think there is another major change happening behind the scenes. For a long time, large companies had an advantage because they had resources. They had research teams. They had analysts. They had expensive software. They had people whose entire job was collecting information and turning it into business decisions. But AI is changing that. A small business owner, a solo entrepreneur, or a small marketing team can now access capabilities that previously belonged only to large organizations. So what does the modern AI research workflow look like?
This is one of the most exciting parts of AI. Because the biggest advantage today isn't just having more information. The internet already gave everyone access to information. The real advantage is being able to understand, organize, and use that information. AI is becoming like an intelligence layer on top of all the information we already have. A good example is market research. A few years ago, if you wanted to understand a market, you might need surveys, analysts, customer interviews, expensive reports, weeks of research. Today, AI can help you create a first version of that analysis in hours or even minutes.
When we look at all these AI tools together, something becomes obvious. AI is not creating one replacement for Google. It's creating an entire ecosystem of specialized assistants.
Exactly. And the smartest businesses won't ask, which one AI tool should I use? They'll ask, what workflow can AI improve? Maybe Notebook LM for understanding information, Perplexity for research, ChatGPT for strategy, Claude for analysis, Canva AI for visuals, automation tools for execution. The future belongs to people who combine tools into systems. AI isn't about collecting apps. It's about building a smarter way of working.
Anna, we've spent a lot of time discussing the technology behind AI search. We've talked about how platforms are changing, how businesses need to think differently about SEO, and how new AI tools are becoming part of the research process. But now I want to bring this down to a practical level. Because most people watching this are not building AI companies. They're creators, they're marketers, they're entrepreneurs, they're business owners, and the question they probably have is, how does this actually affect me?
And that's exactly the right question. Because technology only matters when it changes behavior. AI search is not just a new tool. It's changing the relationship between brands and customers. For decades, businesses competed for attention. They tried to get people to visit their websites, click their ads, watch their videos, subscribe to their newsletters. But AI introduces a new layer. Now businesses need to become part of the answer. Let's use a simple example. Imagine someone wants to buy a camera. The old journey looked like this. They search best cameras for YouTube creators. They click articles, watch reviews, compare products, visit online stores. Then they decide. With AI search, the journey may look different. The person asks, I'm starting a YouTube channel. I record interviews indoors. I need a camera under $1,000 with good autofocus and professional quality. What should I buy? The AI analyzes the situation. It might recommend specific cameras. It might explain why. It might compare options. The customer journey becomes shorter.
So brands are no longer only competing for website visits. They're competing to be recommended by AI.
Exactly. And that changes everything.
Let's talk about creators. YouTube creators, podcasters, influencers. How does AI search change content creation?
I think creators have one of the biggest opportunities. Because AI systems need quality information. And creators are already producing information. The difference is that creators need to think beyond entertainment. They need to think about becoming a trusted source. For example, a fitness creator shouldn't only create 5 exercises for beginners. That's useful, but very general. A stronger piece of content would be how I helped 50 beginners build a workout routine they actually followed. That contains experience, story, lessons, proof. AI systems understand that this has more value.
So storytelling becomes even more important.
Absolutely. People sometimes think AI will make content less human. But I actually think the opposite can happen. When AI handles repetitive tasks, editing, research, formatting, scheduling, creators can spend more time on ideas, opinions, stories, creativity. The human element becomes more valuable.
Let's focus specifically on YouTube. Because many creators are wondering, will AI search reduce YouTube views?
I think YouTube will change, but it won't disappear. Actually, YouTube may become even more important. Why? Because AI needs high-quality sources. And YouTube contains tutorials, reviews, interviews, demonstrations, expert discussions. AI can summarize information, but humans still want to experience creators. AI might become a discovery layer. Someone might discover a creator through an AI recommendation. Then they go watch the full video because they connect with the person.
Another thing that keeps coming up is personal branding. Why is personal branding becoming more important?
Because trust is becoming harder to automate. AI can generate articles, images, videos, emails. But people still want to know, who is behind this? A strong personal brand creates trust. In a world with more AI-generated content, being human becomes a competitive advantage. Think about it. If there are millions of AI-generated articles, what makes someone choose one creator over another? Usually, their perspective, their experience, their personality, their credibility.
Let's talk about online businesses. How does this affect e-commerce?
E-commerce will probably experience one of the biggest changes. Today, customers search best wireless headphones. They compare dozens of options. In the future, they may ask, I need headphones for working remotely. I have small ears, I travel often, and I need excellent microphone quality. What should I buy? AI can become the shopping assistant. Brands will need more than just good products. They will need clear product information, customer reviews, educational content, strong reputation. The AI needs enough information to understand why your product is valuable.
A lot of people are interested in affiliate marketing. How does AI change that industry?
Affiliate marketing will become more competitive. Generic review websites may struggle. For example, top 10 laptops. AI can create that list instantly. The advantage will go to affiliates who create deeper content. Examples: personal testing, comparison videos, real experience, detailed tutorials. The days of simply putting links everywhere are becoming less effective. The future is influence.
Let's create a practical workflow. Imagine someone is starting a small online business. How could they use AI today?
A simple workflow could look like this. Step 1. Research. Use Perplexity, ChatGPT, Notebook LM to understand the market. Step 2. Create content. Use ChatGPT, Claude, Canva AI, Midjourney for ideas and visuals. Step 3. Distribute. Use Buffer AI, Social Bee, automation tools to manage content. Step 4. Analyze. Use AI analytics tools to understand what works, what customers want, where improvements are needed.
So one person can now operate like a small media company.
Exactly. That is probably the biggest opportunity of AI. It doesn't just make existing companies faster. It gives individuals capabilities that previously required teams.
Anna, we've covered a lot today. We've talked about Google, we've talked about ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, Notebook LM, and all these new AI search platforms. We've talked about SEO becoming AEO. We've talked about creators, marketers, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, and personal brands. But I think we're at the point where we need to look beyond today. Because if AI search is already changing how we find information, what happens next? Where do you think this is all going?
I think we're moving towards something much bigger than AI search. We're moving toward AI agents. And that's a completely different concept. Today, most AI tools wait for you to ask a question. You type something, the AI responds. You give another instruction, the AI responds again. But the next generation of AI will increasingly be able to understand a goal and help execute the steps required to achieve it.
So instead of asking, where should I go on vacation? I might say, I want to spend 5 days in Italy. I have a $2,000 budget. I prefer walking and public transportation. Find the best options, and the AI does more of the work?
Exactly. It might research destinations, compare prices, build an itinerary, find hotels, analyze transportation, and potentially help coordinate the entire process. That's the transition from search to action. Google helped us find things. AI helped us understand things. Agents may actually help us do things. And that's why I think the next few years will be incredibly interesting. We're moving from search, answer, recommendation, action. That's the progression.
Let's bring this into business. What does an AI agent mean for a small company?
Imagine a small e-commerce business. Today, the owner might personally handle customer questions, competitor research, inventory monitoring, social media, email marketing. In the future, specialized AI agents could help manage many of these tasks. One agent might monitor competitors. Another could analyze customer feedback. Another could help create marketing campaigns. Another could identify sales opportunities. The human becomes the manager of an AI-powered team. One entrepreneur could potentially operate a business that previously required 10 or 20 employees. But I want to make one important distinction. AI doesn't eliminate the need for people. It changes where people add value. Humans will still need to make strategic decisions. They'll still need creativity. They'll still need relationships. They'll still need to understand customers. The difference is that repetitive work becomes increasingly automated.
Let's ask the controversial question. 5 years from now, will people still Google things?
Absolutely. But Google may look very different. I don't think the future is Google disappears and AI replaces it. I think the future is search becomes intelligent. Google has enormous advantages. It has decades of search infrastructure, enormous amounts of data, YouTube, Maps, Android, Chrome, advertising technology. So I don't see Google simply disappearing. I see it adapting.
So the real competition isn't necessarily Google versus AI. It's traditional search versus intelligent search.
Exactly. And Google itself is becoming part of that intelligent search world.
If you had to give one piece of advice to a business owner or creator listening to this episode, what would it be?
Don't wait for the future to arrive. Start experimenting now. You don't need to use every AI tool. You don't need a massive budget. Start with one problem. Maybe research takes you 5 hours. Try using AI to reduce it to 2. Maybe content creation takes you an entire day. Build an AI workflow and see if you can reduce it to a few hours. Maybe you're struggling to understand your customers. Use AI to analyze reviews and feedback. Start small, learn, experiment, then build systems.
I love that, because the people who benefit most from AI probably won't be the people who know the most about AI. They'll be the people who actually use it.
Exactly. You don't need to become an AI engineer. You need to become an effective AI user.
And with that, I think we've reached the end of an incredible conversation. Today we've talked about something much bigger than search engines. We've talked about the future of how we discover information, how businesses become visible, how creators build audiences, how marketers reach customers, and how AI is changing the entire digital ecosystem. From Google and ChatGPT to Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, Notebook LM, and the next generation of AI agents. We're watching a new era unfold in real time.
And the most exciting thing is that we're still at the beginning. The technology will continue to change. New tools will appear, old platforms will evolve, some companies will disappear, others will become incredibly powerful. But the fundamental skill will remain the same. Learn how to adapt, stay curious, keep experimenting, and don't be afraid to rethink the way you've always done things.
Because the future doesn't belong to the people who predict it perfectly. It belongs to the people who are willing to learn fast enough to participate in it.
Yes, and if there's one thing I hope people take away from today's episode, it's this. Don't think of AI as something that's coming. AI is already here. The question is no longer, will AI change my industry? The question is, how will I use AI to become better at what I already do?
That's a perfect place to end. Anna, thank you so much for another incredible conversation.
Thank you, Will. This was one of my favorite conversations because I think we're talking about a transformation that's going to affect almost everyone.
And to everyone who's been listening and watching, thank you for spending your time with us. We'll be back with another episode where we'll continue exploring AI, marketing, technology, business, and everything that's changing the way we work and create. Until then, stay curious, keep learning, and keep experimenting. We'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.